We click them dozens of times a day without even thinking about it. Those tiny little circles on forms and settings pages, the ones that let us pick just one thing. But have you ever stopped to wonder where they came from or, why they work the way they do? Well, it turns out this humble little button has a surprisingly cool story.
So get this. The name radio button is literal. It comes from the physical preset buttons on old car radios. Just picture it. You're in a car from the 50s, you push one button to get your station, and the one that was already pressed physically pops out. It was a purely mechanical system designed to make sure you could only have one choice active at a time. It's the direct, physical ancestor of the digital button we all use today.
And that physical one in, one out action, that's the entire idea behind the digital rule we see online. It was designed that way on purpose from the very beginning. So why is that so important? Why can we only ever click one?
Well, it all comes down to a really core principle: making a single, unambiguous choice.
The whole reason radio buttons even exist is to handle situations where there just can't be any confusion. You can't be in two places at once, and sometimes you can't select two conflicting answers. You have to make one single, clear choice.
The easiest way to really get it is to compare them to their cousin, the checkbox. A checkbox is kind of like a to-do list. You can check off as many items as you want. But a radio button, that's like a multiple choice question. You can only pick one answer. It forces a single, definitive choice.
Here is a perfect real-world example. A feedback form might ask, "How did you find our site?" And logically, you could only have one main way you first found it. You didn't find it through a search engine and a social media link at the exact same moment. The radio button is just there to enforce that simple logic.
And there's actually a design term for this idea: mutual exclusivity. It's just a fancy way of saying that when you choose one option, all the other ones automatically become unavailable. That's the entire magic trick of the radio button. It makes choices really clear and simple.
So, how does one little circle know what the other circles are doing? How does the browser actually enforce this rule?
The simplest way to think about it is that they know they're part of a team. They aren't just acting alone, they're all grouped together to do one specific job.
Okay, so behind the scenes, in the code, all the radio buttons in a single group are given the exact same name. You can think of this shared name like a team jersey. It's a signal to the web browser that says, hey, all of us, we belong together, only let the user pick one of us at a time. It's a super simple instruction that perfectly enforces that rule of mutual exclusivity.
Now that you know the basic idea, I promise you are going to start seeing them everywhere, just quietly guiding choices all over the web.
For instance, when you're setting up a new program and it asks you to choose your default web browser, you can only have one default, right? So that makes it a perfect job for a radio button.
It's the same exact thing in any online survey. When you're asked to pick just one answer from a list, the radio button is that subtle guide, making sure your choice is recorded clearly without any room for confusion.
And all of this really just brings us to a final, simple thought. The radio button is just a quiet, helpful little circle. It's this tiny piece of thoughtful design that we usually overlook in our rush to just click and submit. So maybe next time you're online, filling out a form or setting a preference, just take a brief moment to notice them. And just appreciate that it's a small circle, doing its job perfectly, and making sure that your single choice is heard loud and clear. It's a simple, elegant solution to a very common, everyday need.